Adam, what can you tell us about that last pick?
Matt Miller told me to look at a certain stat in regards to this defensive back, and that's average number of targets in a game. Not surprisingly, you see that number start to fall each week. He was a master of the bait and switch early in the year, on track to break records midway through the season. Eventually, quarterbacks gave up altogether trying to throw the ball in his direction.
Let's go to Adam Schefter, who's got more on this pick.
After turning in an average performance at the Combine, his pro day was a last-chance effort to show off his athleticism. He kicked off the day by running his 40 time in just under 5 seconds. Nothing special, but what scouts were most impressed with was his 10-yard split. He tested faster than most other linemen in the draft. At the sound of the gun, he was out of his stance and passed the 10-yard marker in around 1.5 seconds. That's the kind of burst that coaches love to see from their big guys. Also told, he showed great bend in the knees and his footwork was sharp during drills.
All right, now that the pick's in, let's go to Adam. Adam, what can you tell us about this guy?
After he set a team record for pass completions in a game, his draft stock couldn't have been any higher. Showing tremendous pocket presence, vision, and throwing accuracy, multiple GMs felt as if he had all the makings of a franchise quarterback. Now he'll have a chance to take his gunslinger mentality to the next level with his new coaching staff, hoping it translates to NFL success.
Feel the burn. I've got a calling, so I should learn. I heard a voice of his broken hymn saying, "I'm not, this is who I am." I know you ain't there yet. Don't stop to catch your breath. You're going higher, 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 higher.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Set me free. Got the streets, all I need. We're going higher, 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 higher. Keep running. Keep running. Feel the flame. Hold on, I can make it rain. Oh, do you hear the thunder? No, don't let it bring you down. Look up and see the light. You're not alone, don't give up like that. Oh yeah, got a ways to go. Break down.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
I know you ain't there yet. Don't stop to catch your breath. You're going higher and higher, higher and higher. Let go.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
All I need is going higher and higher, higher and higher. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Reach out, reach out. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Reach out, reach out.
Now that he's off the board, Adam, tell us more about Lynch.
He was dismissed from the team earlier this year after reportedly not showing up to several organized team activities. This immediately raised some red flags among scouting circles around the league. However, I've been told that he came off as very sincere during the combine, telling teams that he was a team player and he won't make the same mistakes again. That sounds good on paper, but this team will find out very soon if he can back it up.
We just need respect from the boys. We don't wanna fall in love by the force. So I just get the little re-drilling with the boys, yeah.
Now that the Broncos have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter for more.
The foundation of any good team starts up front, and here's a guy who's a franchise's dream come true. GMs I talked to pointed to several of his
The Titans are now on the clock.
hit my phone.
Our very own Adam Schefter has more to say about this pick.
You expect big guys to put up big numbers on the bench at the Combine, but that just didn't happen for him. In fact, there were a few small guys out there that put up more reps than he could. According to Matt Miller, you could tell he was really struggling around the 8th rep, and he barely made it over 10 before giving up. It was a shameful display for a guy his size surrounded by his peers, but it didn't keep him from getting drafted. He's going to need a good off-season of endurance training, but it looks like the team saw something in him that they like to pick him up.
No Harvard, but I was a scholar. Hard knocks, and I learned to be smarter. Don't prefer to be bothered. You get if I order. That's word to my father. I will for my mother. Deal with my brothers. Keep it real. Don't talk with no. Plus I duck undercover. Gotta stay on this mission. Got a vision that's endless. They told me don't be a menace. They gon' serve me a sentence. But now I'm up in the illest that did it. Get the cream, look, drop it, give about opinions. I'm just minding my business. If I'm grinding, I'm shining. Don't got time for the gimmicks. Squad, I'm it. 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 Squad. Okay, now we back to square one. It's hard to square up. Everybody got come.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Please bless them.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Don't get face step before, so I live it up. When a come, better get them up. That's a floss track, better get them up. I'ma keep eating this a dinner rush. I'll let you finish up. Flockadamus, I can promise I'm being honest. This being modest. I am your highness. I am the finest. You rappers, plus you a liar. Don't idolize and I don't admire. Been doing me for like ever. I'm a better me, more clever. It's a new way. We surfing, baby, new age. That's a certain, baby. Let's take a ride. Put your for the ones that die. It's vows tonight. Just you and I get lost tonight and lose your mind. Squad, I'm it. 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 Squad.
The Redskins are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock.
He looked absolutely unstoppable, terrorizing opposing quarterbacks.
Team is now off the clock. Adam Schefter, can you tell us about their newest player?
This is a player that many felt could be a solid role player in the NFL, but not a dominant force. That train of thought changed after one of the best defensive performances the College All-Star Game has ever seen. At times, it seemed as if he were everywhere on the field during the game, disrupting both the run and pass game for the opposition. Several scouts I spoke with pointed to that performance as evidence he could dominate at a high level, and sources have told me that more than one general manager felt he was the type of defender you could build a franchise around. Now all that's left for him to prove is if the All-Star Game was an aberration or a sign of things to come.
The Bills are now on the clock. Their pick. Adam, what can you tell us about him?
Accounting for over 200 receiving yards in the last game of his collegiate career, he burst onto the scene, going from a relatively unknown player to the draft's top tight end prospect in a matter of weeks. Sources tell me it wasn't his stat line. year. Once thought of as a top 3 offensive line pick in the draft, a series of poor performances that saw him miss several routine blocks and surrender multiple sacks had most scouts losing interest. Ross Tucker felt that he simply fell into some bad habits with his footwork, citing a lack of focus that sometimes happens when a young kid with talent begins reading his own press clippings and becomes enamored with where he'll land in the NFL. Tucker may have been onto something regarding him reading the press clippings. After seeing reports of his draft stock slipping, he put on a performance at the Combine that turned many ahead. Not often are you granted a second chance, and that's exactly what he's received by being drafted. His new team is hoping he'll make the best of it.
The Browns are now on the clock. Seahawks pick is in. Adam, give us the latest information on this guy.
He looked like a man among boys at the All-Star game. Facing off against one of the better blockers in the draft, he was able to get pressure and was in the quarterback's face all day. And at least twice, he knocked the offensive lineman on his backside, finishing the play with a sack. Matt Miller came away impressed by more than just his aggressive play style. A lot of his pressures came from pure effort and proper use of his hands to shed the blocker. He was the difference maker in the All-Star game.
The Seahawks are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Giants are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Patriots are now on the clock. Jets are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock.
The Jaguars have made their pick. Adam, what can you tell us about him?
He was always a physical player, and all the tests confirmed it, but what scouts saw at the All-Star game was poor technique. It looked to me like he was playing a little too aggressive, and it worked against him. I spoke with one coach who seemed to like him, but also said he needed to be taught how to tackle properly. He had a lot of success on physical play alone in college, but that won't work anymore in the NFL.
The Jets are now on the clock. The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Adam, what can you tell us about that last pick?
It's a tough pill to swallow when you are doing everything you can to prepare for the combine and you push yourself to the point of injury. That was his case just 2 months ago. And once he was injured, it was goodbye to pre-draft evaluations for him. His draft stock may have taken a hit, but it didn't stop this team from picking him up. He should be good to go before camp, and it's great to see someone take a chance on him.
The Steelers are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock. The Patriots are now on the clock. The Cardinals are now on the clock. The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock. The Bills are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock. The Colts are now on the clock. The Redskins are now on the clock. The Bears are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Giants are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Titans are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. Cowboys are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock.
People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Man, amen. Spent about 60 on the time, I can't even lie. No way in, no way out, do or die. So on roll, when I roll, must be. Amen, man. I can't ride Benz, I don't do peace. I beast, I gotta eat. Saber tooth, tiger, diamond tooth teeth. Rockin' right now, won't you come peek? I was outside. The way that shake, leave your mouth wide. You need to say grace for you say thanks. Amen, what's left in my life, don't know what's in store. I've been dealing with these blessings that I can't ignore. Putting up the numbers, we ain't keeping score. Amen. I here on the block, my side. Run it in the house for us 12 o'clock. Yeah, the hood love me, but you gotta watch. Amen. I just three, I don't do sleep. Yeah, tryna see, UV. Yeah, we gon' fall through, coming through deep. Amen. Yeah, packed it from the south, moved it to the west. Iced the logo on the cross, threw it on my neck. Yeah, when I rep the set, gotta stay blessed. Yeah. Amen. People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen. Man, put him into me. Everybody try to take the identity. Everybody around me turn to a friend of me. Sit back while I take on the remedy. I cannot let it get into me. This plan a toll on me mentally.